Have you ever found yourself in a moment so charged, so delicate, that even the sound of your own breathing feels too loud? That was me, that night. And before I even start, let me ask you this: what would you have done in my place? Would you have spoken? Or would you have let the silence say everything for you? If you've been here before, welcome back. You know the drill: like, subscribe, and thank you for always being here. And if you're new, I'm glad you found this story. You picked the right one. Now, let me take you inside. David sat quietly, glass in hand, the amber swirl at the bottom catching the lamplight. He didn't fidget. He didn't ask why I'd told him to wait. He just sat there, shoulders broad but softened by patience, his eyes low, his breath steady. He knew me well enough to trust my pauses. But tonight, I needed more than his patience. I needed his obedience. I stood behind him, my palms resting lightly on his shoulders. The warmth of his shirt beneath my hands was familiar, grounding. My thumbs moved just enough to remind him I was there. He didn't flinch, didn't turn, didn't ask. That's what I loved and feared about him. He gave me trust, and with it came weight. "Don't move," I whispered near his ear. He froze, not out of fear, but discipline. He obeyed. The last sip of his drink trembled slightly in the glass as his hand adjusted, but he didn't break my command. The room seemed to shrink around us, every sound muffled, every breath louder than it should have been. My heels whispered across the rug as I walked toward the hallway door, the one we never fully closed. And there she was. Samantha. My sister. Her coat was buttoned high against the night, her hair windswept as if the world had chased her here. But she wasn't flustered. She never was. Her poise had always been something I envied, a quiet confidence that never seemed forced. She didn't knock. She didn't ask. She arrived as if the air had summoned her. She unfastened her coat one button at a time, deliberate, slow, like she was unwrapping a secret she'd carried too long. She hung it by the door, as natural as if this house had always been hers too. And in some ways, it had. David still hadn't turned. He didn't need to. He felt her presence in the same way I did, like the air thickened around us, like a tide pulling at our skin. I crossed back to him and sat on the couch. Our arms brushed, just barely, and I crossed my legs, the hem of my skirt shifting with the movement. My hand rested near his, not touching, not yet. He glanced at me, but I kept my eyes forward. Samantha smiled. Just a small curve at the corner of her mouth, nothing more. And in that simple expression, he understood why I'd told him not to move. She moved first. Not to him, not yet. She circled behind us, her fingers grazing the back of the couch like she was tracing the outline of a secret. David's head twitched slightly, the instinct to look overwhelming, but he restrained himself. That restraint made my chest tighten with both pride and ache. When she came to my side, she leaned in, her cheek brushing mine, a silent question in the contact. I didn't answer with words. I tilted, just enough, granting permission. Then she looked at David. Steady. Unblinking. Not hungry, but certain. Like this had always been waiting beneath the surface. My hand slid onto his knee. "Just relax," I whispered, steadying his breath. Samantha lowered herself gracefully to the rug, her movements unhurried, composed. She reached for his hand, not to pull, not to claim, but simply to hold. Her fingers wrapped his like they had always belonged there. His gaze flicked between us, confusion mixing with awe, as if he were trying to follow a rhythm already set in motion before he joined. She removed her earrings, one by one, soft clicks on the table. A ritual, not an unveiling. She smoothed her blouse, rolled a sleeve with delicate care, every motion deliberate. Her eyes never left his. He swallowed hard. I felt it before I heard it. Samantha parted the fabric of her blouse, not to reveal, but to signal. To prepare. A message layered in quiet certainty. Then she leaned in again, this time toward me. Her forehead touched mine, steady, grounding. No hesitation. I held her at the nape, not to stop, but to anchor. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. David exhaled, a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. When she finally turned to him, she reached slowly, deliberately, and guided his palm to her side. His eyes widened, darting to mine, searching for permission. I nodded. "Follow her lead," I said softly. She sat beside him now, upright, her presence both calming and commanding. His breath came shorter, shallower. I adjusted his shirt collar with a gentle tug, whispering, "Just enough." Samantha leaned forward, her forehead brushing his. Not a kiss, just contact. Just the weight of silence pressing meaning into every inch of space. He didn't move. He didn't need to. His leg twitched once, a nervous current running through him, but he stilled quickly. My hand moved to his chest, feeling his heartbeat, fast and heavy, but steady beneath the storm. He was being seen, wholly, and it shook him more than anything. Samantha's forehead lingered against his, then against mine, passing the unspoken connection back and forth. I leaned into his back, not enclosing him, but surrounding him. Together, we became a circle, an unbroken line of touch and silence. And still, no one spoke. We didn't need to. His shallow breaths told us everything. The weight of the moment wasn't awkward, it was full. Full of trust. Full of risk. Full of everything we hadn't said aloud but had carried quietly, waiting for a night like this. Now let me ask you, would you have stayed quiet in a moment like that? Or would you have broken the silence, confessed, or questioned? Tell me in the comments. I always read them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because sometimes, the silence says more than words ever could.